Hello. It's a bit of a role reversal for me to be standing here on stage. As a theatre director, I'm normally sitting out there watching my actors, cajoling them, provoking them, and encouraging them to give great performances. And what am I looking for in a great performance from an actor? You think of it in two frames. I'm looking for competency, and I'm also looking for curiosity. When it comes to competency, I'm looking for actors who have a strong body, a good voice, they've learnt all their lines, they say all the words in the right order, and don't bump into the furniture. When it comes to curiosity, I'm looking for performers who are able to access sensitivity, imagination, and instinct. These two ideas are valuable not just for actors on stage, but for us who are acting in real life. Now, it would be remiss of me, as a theatre director in a theatre, to not at least once mention Shakespeare. So, one of the most famous quotes, probably after To Be or Not to Be, is this one: "All the world's a stage, all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts." So what Shakespeare's saying, it's not just actors that are playing and performing, it's all of us. This speech goes on to talk about the 10, or the 7 rather, ages of man, each one with 10 years within them, and the roles that each of the actors, each of the performers plays in life, from a child through to a teenager, maturing all the way through life, dealing with different challenges as they come about. We all play different roles: father, brother, neighbour, teacher, surgeon, nurse, doctor. And we have to play those roles with competency and with curiosity. To play them clearly, but also to play them with inspiration. Now, I work with many, many fine actors. This is the best actor I know. My mum. Now, fine actors say, if I ask them what makes a great performance, they give you all sorts of analysis of great performances. The ability to get inside the character, to live the part, to live the role. But actually, when you analyse it, what great actors are really doing is getting inside the character and saying, what does the character want? How much does he want it? And how is he going to get it? This is what's called objective-driven performance. And within that is the idea that the actor thinks, how much does this moment matter? How will it affect my whole story? But right now, how much does this matter? How much do I want it? And here is why my mother is such a great performer. And in this photograph, my sister standing next to her is actually smiling. But if we go back 35 years, my sister and I were not always smiling as we dealt with the trauma of my mother always changing the room we stayed at in a hotel. The line we always shared with my mother was, "Don't unpack yet." Every time we turned up into a hotel, my mother would say, "Don't pack yet, don't unpack yet, I'm going to check the room." And if it wasn't to her liking, she would go down to the reception, and what a performance. Full of competency, but absolutely amazing performance. Unbelievable. Woe betide the manager or the receptionist who got in her way. We were going to change the rooms. And I don't mean just change, I mean upgrade. This was an astounding performance. The lines she would come out with were amazing. Some of us would absolutely bemuse my sister and I. She would say, "I'm a nurse, you know." And we would go, "What's that got to do with anything?" And they would go, "Oh, okay, right, we better change your room then." We were like, what an amazing performance. She utterly convinced them. We truly believe that the last job that my mother ever had as a health and safety executive prosecutor, my sister and I truly believe that she got this job just so she could say to people, "Change the room. You know, I am a health and safety executive prosecutor." Change the room, every single time. So she had great lines, but she also had the great ability to deliver those lines. She was an amazing improviser, and she wouldn't always be demonstrative. Sometimes she would say, look, we're here on holiday, we just want to have a nice time, it's not good enough for us, please. Or she would be very direct and say, we absolutely have to change this room, no argument. She was accessing different techniques. In one sense, she had the high competency, and the other sense, she had the creativity and curiosity. This is what we call dual frame performance. Now, my mother was not acting per se, she was being herself, but she was accessing two sides of her ability to get what she wanted. How much does she want it? How is she going to get it? She wanted it, she was going to get it, nothing was going to stand in her way. Logic and instinct. She gave very logical arguments, but instinctively, she also made sure that people understood what she wanted. She had a fixed ability, like actors do, highly competent, clear voice, strong body, but she also had that growth mindset. I want us to do something else. I want us to get something better. The performance was highly controlled, but also full of curiosity. It's what makes great performances on stage. A sense of purpose, a sense of control, but also a sense of something special. Aristotle, who was in the photograph just before, said there are two things that you need to get people to believe you. You need evidence and you need artistic persuasion. Whether you're a father, a doctor, a nurse, a next-door neighbor, an entrepreneur, a business person or colleague, you need evidence to persuade people and get them to believe you, and you need artistic persuasion. Strong body, focused mind. Now this is what we in the theatre, or I in the theatre, call tactical authenticity. You are yourself. Remember those 7 ages of man? You've developed your own experience. You are who you are, where you are in life. You're authentic, but you also have the ability, when it matters, when you want something, to be tactical, to borrow from the performing arts, to borrow and be performative, to really think, what can I do to get what I want? Now, the characters that we have in the theatre, that we use in rehearsal and developing characters, are these 6 archetypes. They come from Greek theatre, and they've been passed down through the centuries. You imagine we're in an amphitheatre in Athens, and way, way, way down on the stage are these larger-than-life characters, archetypes, the king, the hero. We see them come on. Here comes the king. You see my mother now walking to reception, can't you? Huh? Straight away, everybody knows what they're dealing with. Strong body. But we also see it in real life, don't we? We see people walk into the room, the body language of the king. King positive, strong, authoritative. King negative, we don't want this, the dictator. The hero. We see the hero coming into the bar. Hey guys, how's it going? We can do anything, let's do it. Yeah? The innocent. What do you think? The mother. Come on, let's do it all together. And the trickster and the joker, the different styles, the different body language, the different energy, the different surprises that come with each of these characters. You're sitting on an aeroplane, on comes the pilot. You don't really want the trickster joker, do you? I hope you enjoy the drinks. I have. You don't want it. Does anybody know the way to Rome? You don't want it. You want a hero king. Maybe you can have an innocent mother, and I hope you enjoy the journey, but really you want a hero king. And you think about the roles we play, you want that person to play that role, not just competently, but with curiosity and surprise and performative quality. Tactical authenticity, saying the right things in the right way to the right people to get the right result. Stradivarius, as we know, made instruments, particularly violins. Those violins were beautifully made. They were the world's finest instruments. But even the world's finest instruments, unless they are played with subtlety, surprise, creativity, and passion, will have nothing. Even if you have the competency, unless you can find the creativity to make it work, it's not a great sound. Picasso says, as many of us will know, that we should encourage our inner child through our lives. We should think about creativity like through the mind of a child. That's a role. It's a role to play like the child, to think like the child, to be open to the world, to possibility. We think like the child. Stradivarius also said, when asked the question, where does your inspiration come from? Is it just a spark? Does it just happen? He answered like this: inspiration does happen, but it finds you working. Inspiration finds you working. Highly competent, well-built, well-structured, a solid instrument. Then inside that comes, on top of this, the inspiration. I doubt that these two have ever been on a slide together in a PowerPoint. So it's the world's first, Charles Darwin and Mike Tyson. Life is not a monologue. Life is not a monologue. There are interactions, and you have to be, as a performer, ready for those interactions. Be able to listen, be able to engage, be able to improvise. The first quote is from Darwin. The survival of humankind depends upon its ability to collaborate and improvise. Survival of mankind depends upon its ability to collaborate and improvise. If you are only fixed in one way, you will not survive. Mike Tyson, less eloquent, but equally, I think, interesting, says, everyone has a plan until you get hit. I love this. I imagine that poor receptionist, boom, my plan for today is just to get through. Then comes my mother. Everyone has a plan. That ability to improvise, to listen, and to be in control. Now, we read a lot about robots and computer and artificial intelligence, don't we? We see this robot that beat the grand chess master. It's now beaten the guy at this Go, using different kind of elements of artificial intelligence. We see this robots and computers creating art or imitating art and poetry. But we're still at the point where sensitivity and that inside the ideas still remains purely human. What's very interesting is that robots now, as you probably have heard, are also doing comedy. Yeah? So there was a robot comedy festival, okay? The robots were on the stage, the humans were in the audience. The first joke that this robot told at the Robot Comedy Festival went like this. A man goes to the doctors. And the doctor says, oh, great, you're here finally. I've been waiting for you. Please take a seat. I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which one would you like to hear first? And the man says, good news, bad news. Okay, give me the good news. The good news is you've got 24 hours to live. The 24 hours to live, that's the good news? What's the bad news? The bad news is, I tried to telephone you yesterday. Now, you just imagine all the robots going, ha, 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 they're all going to die. Giving good news and giving bad news is part of the life of many people, including surgeons, having to give bad news, give good news. This is a friend of mine, Dr. Giles Peake. I'm the godfather of his daughter, Izzy. He ran one of the most important pediatric heart surgery hospital in Leicester for children. And he's recently transferred to Brooklyn in New York, where he's regarded as a hero king in pediatric surgery, heart surgery. He has to give lots of bad news. He acts like the hero king. That's his mechanism. That's the way that he thinks. He's not God, but he has to be highly courageous and focused. So when it comes to giving difficult news, I said to him, Giles, how do you do it? How do you talk to people? You're the hero king. And he says, absolutely, I'm the hero king. When I walk into that room, I absolutely want to tell them straight out every time what has happened to their child. But I know this moment will stay with them forever. So I tell them straight every single time, except when I can't. Except when I look them in the eye and instinct tells me, be careful, Giles, what you say and how you say it. He has the competency, but he also has that sense of instinct as well. This is my son. Can you believe it? He's 16. If you live in Cambridge, you have a 16-year-old boy, you have to be really encouraging to try and get them to wear a bicycle helmet because they think they're cool. And bicycle helmets are not cool. I use every tactic, the king, the hero, the mother. Harvey, you must wear your helmet. Come on, Harvey, wear your helmet. One time I actually got him to do it. I was the king. I said, you will wear your helmet. He cycled off down the street. I went back into the house. I realized he'd forgotten his homework. I got in the car. I thought, yes, I'll catch him on the bicycle. He's wearing his helmet. I saw him in the distance. No helmet, headphones in, riding without his hands on the handlebars and drinking a cup of coffee. What kind of king was I? But he got me so great. He got me so well because one time when I said, Harvey, you will, please, as the mother, I say to you, please, please wear your helmet. I love you. I don't want you to get hurt. And he said to me, but Dad, you don't wear a bicycle helmet. So now we both wear bicycle helmets. So what am I saying in conclusion? Well, I don't think you need to be like De Niro. You don't need to add 60 pounds in your character to be able to be an amazing actor. You don't even have to change your costume. You just have to have that sense in the role that you have. If you're pitching an idea, if you're talking to your neighbors, at work with your colleagues, that you think, what can I do tactically to be the best that I can be? Something that I want. Something that I really want, how can I get it if it matters? Do I need to be the king, the hero, the mother, the joker, or the trickster? What can I do? I'll end, as I started with Shakespeare, from Henry V. In peace, then nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ear, then imitate the action of the tiger. And if you imitate the action of the tiger, you might, like my mother and her grandchildren, very recently in the Aberdeen Hilton, you might end up staying in the bridal suite. Thank you very much.